I'm Joe Kane.
I'm Dan Kane.
I'm Sal Conca.
And I'm Wayne Heckler.
And this is The Imperfect Podcast.
Don't forget to check us out at hecklerkane.com and everywhere on social media.
To the bumper.
So today we're here with Clint Harrington, mastermind behind the well-known film blog, Clintington.com, where he discusses everything film. He's a social worker at large for those that have a voice, author and creator of Growing Up Movies, and, like we said, blogger of Clintington on Film. Hey, Clint, how are you today?
I am very good.
Awesome. Thanks for doing this with us and hanging out. And
absolutely. Thanks for having me on, guys. Seriously, it's an honor, and you guys are tip top, and I'm just so thankful to have the opportunity.
Cool, man. Well, we've noticed obviously what you've been doing. Your blog is, blown up. Obviously, I'd say. I mean, how long have you been doing the blog?
About 2 years now. I started in January, I think 14 is when I officially started.
Cool. And what made you do this? What made you do the site?
So, I always wanted to be a writer growing up. I wanted to be Stephen King growing up, actually. Who doesn't, right?
Yeah.
But I really was taken by the story The Body, which, as we all know and love, Stand By Me.
Sure.
And that really spoke to me because he was writing about a character around my age the first time I read it that wanted to be a writer. And so I always had the writer in me. And then, of course, as all of us are well aware of, life kind of happens. And you start getting into these different responsibilities and doing these different things. And there was a time where writing kind of got away from me out of my life. And, it was unfortunate, but social media, Twitter in particular, was a big help. I ran into a number of different awesome people on Twitter, and there was this one in particular. His name's Nat Russo. He's an independent author, and he has a blog that's about how to become an independent author, basically. And I just started reading that, and a big part of it was, and the most important part that I took from it was that if you're going to start a blog and try and develop a platform, you have to write about things that you love. You have to have a passion behind the things that you love. And I got to tell you guys, I love movies. I love movies. Like, there's nothing greater to me. I mean, I have a son now, so I have to say that, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, like, right up there, like 1B behind my son is movies. Like, there's no doubt about it. It always has been. And for those of you that have read it, like, like that's what our family did together. So movies are just huge.
And I guess one of the benefits of having a son now, you get to show him all the movies that you love. So you get to watch them all and have a great excuse to do it, right?
Yes, and like, he was maybe 2 months. It was 2 months in the pregnancy, and I'm already thinking, okay, when can I show him E.T.? Like, when can we watch the trilogy? When can we see? I'm probably gonna have to wait on The Godfather a little bit, but not too long. It's changing, just like that's one of the first things that I ever thought of when I was thinking about having a child, is like how excited I was to relive some of those with him again. And we've seen E.T. We watched E.T. He loves it. He's 4 years old, loves E.T.
Cool. That's awesome.
I saw on the cover of your book you have in the O on top, you have the little ET symbol going up there. So,
Hey, let me hear some of the movies that he has watched with you. Keep going. I'm curious. How about Goonies, maybe? One of those?
He hasn't seen Goonies yet. He will. But I kind of wanted to wait on Goonies until he kind of had a bigger group of friends.
Okay.
So that he can kind of experience, like, oh yeah, it would be really cool if my friends and I, because he's kind of, and that's not to say he doesn't have friends. It's just that he's kind of in that young stage where everybody's his friend for a little bit, and friendships are like 4 seconds long, and then it's off to someone else.
Each movie.
I kind of want to wait until he had like a group. You know what I mean?
Each movie is time sensitive. Exactly. It has to be the right age group for each movie.
Yeah, and I've kind of got like mapped out, like I think this one will work at this age, and that kind of stuff. It's kind of sad. I hope he likes movies as much as I do.
Just out of curiosity, how old is he?
He's 4 years old.
I have a 4-year-old son too, and I've been having the Star Wars debate with my wife, trying to figure out when is the appropriate time to start him on that original trilogy.
Hey, tell me about some of the movies that you love so much. I want to hear details. What do you really love? You say you love movies. What in particular? Which ones?
Oh man, I love to quote Mel Brooks when I'm asked about like my favorite movies. I tell people I love like 6,000 movies. Like but there are some more than others though, obviously. And I always think of the movies that impacted me, And Ghostbusters was that first movie, really, when I was growing up. That was like I finally was allowed to be an adult. Like I really wanted to see Ghostbusters, and my parents. I come from a pretty conservative town, and my parents are pretty like, God, I don't know, should we let them watch it? And there's some adult stuff in there, and they finally came around and let me. And like, there was. It's hard to match. What that was for me the first time to see an adult movie. Like, it's not really an adult movie, but for me it was. And like the joy and the creativity of that movie. When Ghostbusters came out, there was nothing like that. Nothing. You have the science fiction, and you have the like ghosts and the ghouls, and you have Bill Murray. I love Bill Murray. Yeah. And he's just so like he can make a movie just by just showing up and making faces.
Well, that whole film is iconic for a reason, right? I mean, it just goes back to it. So I got to ask, because we've talked about it a couple times on here, what did you think about the Ghostbusters reboot? Did you watch it? Did you not watch it?
I did watch it. And I'll say this, like I went in, because Ghostbusters is so important to me, I went in kind of with an attitude of like, it just can't be what the original was, and it's kind of unfair to expect it to. Mm-hmm. So I just went in with the attitude of like, you know what? If they give me some good laughs, I'm gonna be okay with it, and they did. And it wasn't even close to what the original could be, and it's unfair, I think, to try and expect it to be. And I think, for the few good laughs that you do get out of it, just kind of enjoy it for that, and it is what it is. I got to see it with my nephews. They loved it, and they had seen the original, but they loved it. They thought it was great.
Cool.
Yeah. Did you guys get a chance to see it?
None of us have
seen it, but we've all keep ranking on it.
Well, I don't rank on it. I really didn't give it a fair chance yet. So I'm always open, really.
I think Sal's been the most harsh on it.
Yeah, I've been pretty harsh. I'm not a fan of the cast. I just, a lot of them, I just don't think they're that funny. I've seen them. Yep. There's too many comedic movies that have been released in the recent years that it's kind of like that. They're like all in the same club, and they're all telling the same inside joke that we don't really get. And it's not made for the masses anymore. In some regards, they've lost that kind of like general humor, and or maybe it's just me. I'm getting old. I don't know.
We're also pretty sure by the box office flop that it turned out to be that they're not going to make a sequel of this series. So
no, and I'm kind of okay with that, because for me it's like they gave it a shot. It wasn't the worst thing in the world, but I'm kind of glad it didn't do that well, so I don't have to try and convince myself to go to another one, honestly.
Hey, you're definitely going to get a chance to hear us after we all watch Ghostbusters now. Now we all have to. We'll do another podcast on that once we finally give it a fair chance. Yes.
We have ripped apart Ghostbusters in at least 4 or 5 different podcasts in different ways, and now this one also.
It just happens to keep coming up.
Hey, one thing I did love about the first Ghostbusters was the manifestation it actually taught you. Like, think of this, and what do you think? The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. That was a deep type of thought, because it's like you used your own inner thoughts to create something against you. So I thought that was a good twist.
Yeah,
something good.
Yeah. And like, it's so quotable. Like, it's just there are so many. You can just stop and think about like 10 to 15 lines that you'll just start smiling. You just think of them, and you're just like, I'm just smiling. I'm thinking of Ghostbusters, you know?
Yeah.
Well, we know you obviously like Ghostbusters, but what genre would you call your favorite genre?
Oh man, I really like gangster movies, but a comedy would have to be in there just because of the amount of respect I have for people that attempt comedy. Comedy is so hard to do because I think we can all agree what's dramatic, you know?
Sure.
Like it's kind of hard to mess up drama or horror, you know, because we can all agree what's like scary or dramatic. You know, a child getting murdered is dramatic. You know, we can all kind of agree that that's a touching kind of concept, but like comedy is taste oriented, and people have different levels of the kind of comedy they like, and certain people will laugh at certain things, but you say the F word and I can't laugh at that. That's my family. Like, they don't like the F word. I love the F word. I use it.
We love it.
Feel free to use it anytime you want. We're not censored here.
But like comedy to me, like taking that on and being good at it, like, and I don't think, and I'm not a huge awards guy. I don't the Academy doesn't hold shit for me. Like, I think it's just a suck fest. But we don't give comedy its due. And I think part of it is because we just tend not to take it seriously because it makes us giggle, and it's true art when it's performed correctly. So like, I have mad respect for people that are good at comedy. Kevin Smith is one of my favorite.
Oh, did you see that they're making a documentary about clerks called Shooting Clerks? Did you see that's coming?
No, but that's
that's coming. That's something I'm excited about.
You gotta pay closer attention to our Twitter feed, man. I gotta, you know.
Like, what am I doing? Man.
Yeah, they just announced it. So that's kind of cool.
Great.
I know. So you mentioned you're a comedy fan, and I think you mentioned Mel Brooks before. So is he like your big comedic hero? Is Mel Brooks?
He's one
Mel
of
Brooks
them
movies
for sure. Blazing Saddles is my favorite Mel Brooks movie. But I mean, he has so many. And the thing about Mel is, like, you can watch Mel when you're young and laugh at kind of the slapstick kind of goofy stuff, and the adults can watch it along with the kids too and just laugh at stuff. You know, you have the kids turning around going, why is Dad laughing at that one? Like,
yeah, it's a different level of humor.
Right.
Yeah,
level of
and
humor.
so
like, everybody loves a good fart joke sitting around the fire eating beans, you know. But
not getting really
right. But then there's, you know, things like Land, Sea Snatch. Like that's right. Just a whole other level.
Right.
Of just greatness, you know.
Yes.
I love Harvey Korman. You know, the shit kicker. You know, it's just all that good stuff. You know. But yeah, I love silent movie, Young Frankenstein. You know, Mel Brooks. I like Blake Edwards. Blake Edwards was a great comedic director. I like old stuff too. Frank Capra is a great comedic director. You know, there's just a number of them. Howard Hawks. Oh wait, not Howard Hawks. Who am I thinking of? The guy that did Bringing Up Baby. Was that Howard Hawks? I can't remember.
I don't know.
I'm getting old. Yeah,
we all are.
We're all kind of silent. I guess we passed that one. We're like,
we don't know.
Bringing Up Baby, is that the Katharine Hepburn one?
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, Katharine Hepburn. And...
See, Wayne knows his stuff.
I know.
Howard. Maybe not. I can't remember. But anyways, yeah, like comedy. I just have such respect for people that are able to do it. And Mel Brooks, like, he was able to do it time and time again.
Yeah.
Look at any of his things. The Producers, Young Frankenstein, all of those things. It's like absolutely priceless.
Definitely.
Yeah, and to be able to make them differently, you know, like, he doesn't use the same gags over and over, and it's all creative. And the talent that he was able to get in his movies was great too, you know.
Yeah, for sure. So, what was your upbringing like? You mentioned your parents a few times, and so where'd you grow up?
I grew up in I call it Mormonville, USA. It's southeast Idaho, and it's land of the Mormons. There's a lot LDS folks in Southeast Idaho, and so it's, as you can imagine, very religious, very conservative, and we grew up Lutheran, so we were kind of like the rebels of the town. Like there's that Lutheran family over there, you know, and so it was very easy for us to kind of be outlandish, because we wanted to be everything opposite of Mormon. So, like, you know, which kind of led to underage drinking every now and then, and those kinds of things.
Sure.
And yeah, and my parents were the kind of people that were kind of like, hey, I'd rather know where you are doing that than elsewhere. So you keep it under wraps and don't bring over too many, but, like, you know.
So they were cooler than you let on before. I get it.
They just wouldn't let you see Ghostbusters.
You just couldn't see Ghostbusters. Drink all the beer you want. No Ghostbusters, though.
Yeah, you know, I used to give them so much crap about that, like how conservative they were, and that's another good thing about blogging is, like, it brings back all these memories, and you realize, like, they weren't that bad. Like, they let me see a lot of things probably earlier than I should have. I think I saw Jaws at 8.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's not when you want to necessarily see that young, but...
Did you go into the beach after that, or what?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. There's not a lot of beaches in Idaho, so I was okay.
You were safe, right?
Yeah.
Are you still in Idaho then, or?
Yeah, I'm in Boise. Yeah.
Cool. I hear it's booming there, like, now. Idaho is, like, kind of like a spot. Like, a lot of tech companies are moving in, and...
Yeah, and I love it. I want more and more people to come out here. We have a lot of, like, we've had an attitude, and when I say we, I mean the state of Idaho. I speak for everybody. We've had a lot of people that through the years are like, man, we don't want anyone to know how wonderful it is over here. We kind of want them to stay out, and I'm not like that. Like, the more the merrier. Come on in, like, you know, bring in business, bring in people, bring in different cultures. There's a lot of white people over here. We need to bring in some diversity.
I hear you.
Hey, there's one question I like to ask all film connoisseurs. Where does My Cousin Vinny rank for you? Because to me, I think that's like a masterpiece.
My Cousin Vinny is... I want you to know that's going to show up on my blog. And if it's on my blog, I liked it. But I have a great... I got to tell you, the gentleman who played Herman Munster and the judge, his name is escaping me.
Fred Gwynn.
That is one of the greatest performances by a supporting actor that I have seen in a long... And so memorable, and...
Every line...
Yeah, the Southern charm he puts on, and his ability to be a straight man across from Joe Pesci, who's trying to keep it together. I love My Cousin Vinny. It's one of those, and I hate it when people always do the thing about, like, Jack Palance being crazy about giving Marissa Tomei the Academy Award or whatever. She earned that damn award.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
It's one of the best performances in decades for me.
Yes.
From a woman of that nature, and I mean Marissa Tomei's smoking hot anyway. Right?
Absolutely.
Still.
Absolutely.
Still. And their chemistry on screen was awesome too. Pesci and Tomei.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's amazing. And, you know, I love it when Pesci goes against type, like in JFK, My Cousin Vinny, Lethal Weapon 2.
Yeah.
Lethal Weapon 2. Joe Pesci in Lethal Weapon 2. I mean, they don't have an Academy Award for how good that performance was. He stole the show across from Glover and Gibson. He stole the show.
Yeah.
Every scene he's in, you're like, I can't wait for Pesci to get back into the scene.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'd agree with that for sure.
Yeah. I love all your even movie memorabilia that you have there. You have your Save Ferris shirt on, and you have your Star Wars mug you're sipping out of. It's like, you live your life.
Yeah, so I love it because, as you can see, the top's black. Yeah. When it's hot, the lightsabers turn on.
Oh, that is cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. I bet your kids love that one.
He loves it. And what's great is, like, for me in the morning, because I'm not much of a morning person, but that mug always puts me in a great mood. I'm like, I get to see the lights come on today, you know?
Nice. I can't see. What's the poster behind you? I can't make it out.
Looks like Godfather.
It's Godfather.
Oh, that's Dan's movie.
Dan picked it
the
out. He
Godfather
saw
guy.
that poster back there.
Yep.
Dan had it.
Yeah, that is my favorite movie. So.
Yeah. Yes. I would say Ghostbusters is 1A and The Godfather is 1B for me.
Okay.
Cool.
Nice.
You're talking to the right crowd.
Yeah, because we were talking about impactful movies.
Mm-hmm.
Godfather is definitely impactful because for me, it's one of those movies that's so good and it's so captivating because you'll be watching it and it seems like there's just not a lot going on in bits and pieces, but you're glued. You're just drawn into that massive story that they have.
Yep.
And all the different characters. It's Game of Thrones before Game of Thrones. Like, you just have all these different pieces and all this political intrigue amongst that lifestyle and environment. And I mean, and it's one of my favorite books. Have you guys all read the book?
Yes.
I've read part of it like 12 times.
Yeah.
You couldn't get through. You couldn't get through it.
No, it wasn't that.
12 times?
It wasn't that. It wasn't that it was not good. I just
It's lack of attention span. I think,
yeah,
more than
that's
anything
a
else.
big problem. But I need to own it because that library thing puts me under the gun. I know it has to go back.
He had to return it.
Oh man.
Hey, Clint. So, do you do your own screenwriting also?
I have written one screenplay. Yes, I'm putting out a novel in November.
Okay.
Yep.
And basically, what I did was I wrote a screenplay, and I couldn't find anyone to make it, and didn't think it would ever get made. So I converted it into my novel that's coming out in November.
What's the screenplay and the novel? What's the novel about?
The guy who loves movies, we need to know what movie you would write.
That's right.
Oh, what movie I would write? Well, you're probably gonna laugh at this, but it's kind of I wouldn't say it's a romantic comedy, but it's it's kind of a coming of age for like a new adult. It's I tell people all the time, it's about college relationship angst. You know, there's the lead character is a guy who has been with the same woman for about 7 years, and then she ups and leaves right before they're about to graduate, and she's just out of his life like that, and he's kind of like coming to terms with how to move on and those kinds of things. So it's about loss. The title of the novel is called Get Back, and so it's kind of this story about how he's going to get back on with his life, basically.
And Get Back is getting released pretty soon, right?
Yeah, it'll be out in November. I want to have it out kind of early in November so that on Cyber Monday I can put a little bit of a rebate on it for people. I have the compilation of the blog out already on. It's called Growing Up Movies.
Mm-hmm. So what is that? Is that all of your blog posts just in book form?
Yeah,
basically.
But yeah, it's a compilation of the blog, and I wanted to make, because the blog's free, I wanted to make the book free, but Amazon won't let you do it for free, so I'm trying to get it free. I have it free on Kobo, so I'm going to try and there's a way in which you can kind of let Amazon know how to get it on there for free, because I feel bad charging people for something that's free on my blog.
Sure.
So yeah, and it's
so
kind of just a way to advertise my writing and stuff.
Yeah, which is a great vehicle. I mean, it's one of the ways that a lot of writers do that, right? They have a blog, and they were able to now, you can create these ebooks or digital books or downloadable books and put out all your content. How many movies are in there? How many blog posts were we talking about?
I think I have like between 100 and 110 total, but I stopped at 89. And just did the 80s and some earlier stuff like Butch Cassidy and those kinds of things that I watched with my parents. But I kept it to the 80s, and then I'm planning on doing the 90s, and that one would be called Growing Into Movies.
Nice.
When I get through that, because that's kind of, I was I was 13, 14 in the early 90s, and then I later went into college through the 90s. And now, guys, don't get me wrong, I love the 80s, but the 90s for me, like, some of my movies that I have on my top 10 from the 90s, they'll always be in my top 10. Like, so many, I probably have 5 movies that I just watch over and over again that were from the 90s. I mean, Pulp Fiction was in 94.
Yep.
And I mean, that movie changed everything for me.
Well, let me ask you a little bit. You have your site up and running. You have everything going. You have a regular blog that you're putting out pretty regularly. Are you making an income off of this where you're sustaining yourself? Is this your primary job is what I'm asking?
No, absolutely not. No, I'm a social worker by day. I work with persons diagnosed with developmental disabilities.
Wow.
That puts the bread on the table. I would hope at some point, my goal is to eventually be good enough. We'll see how it goes. This is going to be my first novel, so but eventually keep at it. Got to keep at it with the writing, and eventually see how it works out. But for right now, no, that's just getting the platform built. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah, you're using the blog to build your audience and create a fan base for yourself, and which is smart. It's great.
Yeah, Tarantino and Scorsese, in terms of like being able to put popular music to film, they're the best. Those two are just. I mean, it's great.
Yeah,
I'd say Scorsese's probably the best.
Yeah.
And he started right away, right? In his first movie doing that. He was one of the pioneers of doing modern music.
Yeah, was it Mean Streets?
Yes,
Well,
Mean Streets.
I think he had, if I'm not mistaken, Jumpin' Jack Flash in Mean Streets, and when De Niro walks in with and walks up to Harvey Keitel. So, and then he used the Stones a lot, but yeah, I think that was in that one.
Yeah, my favorite is the beginning of The Departed, Jack Nicholson's monologue, the VO.
Oh, during Gimme Shelter.
To Gimme Shelter. Yeah. I mean, I watch that, I get chills listening to Jack. I mean, that movie. What's crazy about that movie? I mean, you list off the cast and you're like, okay, Martin Sheen, Mark Wahlberg, Matt Damon, Leonardo DiCaprio. None of those guys are slouches at all, right? I mean, those guys are great.
Absolutely.
Jack Nicholson owned everyone. Like, when has he not been the best actor in a movie? Like, I don't think it's possible. Like, he's amazing. Yeah. And you just didn't see it coming. And I mean, Haunting, good stuff.
Yeah, that scene where he's questioning Leo's character about being a rat, and he just looks like he's losing his mind. And then I'm nervous as a watcher. I'm like, oh my God, what? How's he sitting in front of?
I was you guys did the top 10 villains.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was watching that, and I was surprised Jack on that movie didn't make the list. I thought for sure.
That's true.
We may have to go revisit the top 10 villains again.
Yeah, we had to agree. We had to come to a consensus, right? That might have been one of our battles. Who knows?
Yeah, there's only 10, right? I mean,
right.
Yeah. And there's a lot of good villains.
Yeah. The problem is you root for a lot of them. So then I almost didn't see Jack as a villain. I'm like, he's on my side.
You like him too much.
Yeah, he's still my favorite Joker.
Yeah.
Nicholson's still my favorite Joker. I mean, he just I don't know, there's something about the enjoyment I got out of watching him do awful things to other people, and that might speak volumes about me.
And you're a social worker?
I mean, you just have so many different emotions when you're watching a villain that you love,
For sure.
And Jack's one of those guys that you just like anyway because he's so cool.
Speaking of the Joker, though, how did you feel about Jared Leto as the Joker? Did you see Suicide Squad? I know we kind of trampled all over that movie.
No, guys, I didn't watch Suicide Squad. I heard enough. I was like, I can't go to that. Like,
you have to draw the line somewhere.
He saw our podcast and was like, I'm not seeing that.
Actually, you guys were the ones that finally pushed me to the, like, okay, I can't do it.
Oh, no.
It'll be on Amazon for free in no time.
Yeah, there you go.
I know. That's the thing. Like, it's going to have a short window there.
Well,
the funny thing is it probably did okay because there was like nothing else to go to. I didn't feel like
it
wasn't anything that really jumped out at me.
Yeah, for sure. The good news is, I guess, the best thing about that movie was Margot Robbie, Harley Quinn, and they just announced she's getting her own spin-off. So they're going to create a Harley Quinn. She just inked the deal. She's also going to be executive producer on it or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Because like the snippets that you see, like she seems captivating.
She killed it.
She seems like right on. And the voice, her voice, the inflection she used was great.
Mm-hmm. It was a little Long Island Wolf of Wall Street for me, but it's there. It's still awesome. Yeah.
Well, let me ask. Do you have any advice for anybody who would want to start a blog?
Well, I mean, it kind of goes back to the original thing. You have to love what you're writing about. You have that passion is going to be that fuel for you to keep going. And even I have some nights where I'm like, I don't know if I want to write about that movie just yet. And it's kind of like, well, I'm trying to do these in order, but it just, I'm not ready to do that one yet, Right. I held off on The Godfather for a long time because it had to be right.
Mm-hmm.
That movie had to be right. But like Ghostbusters, I was like, I jumped in early on that one. I went to like 4. I was like, I'm doing it. I don't care. Like I have to say this about this, like. So you have to have that love for whatever it is, and you should only blog about what you love. What you have the passion for, because it's going to keep you going. Because you have to do a lot. If you want a good blog, you got to put out a lot of stuff.
I mean, that's been a theme, just I think, amongst all of our guests that we've had over the summer. Everybody that we've had has been so passionate, and you are as well, which is why we were happy to have you on here and really wanted to talk about your site and really find out who you are and more about you and give you a platform to talk about it. So. Thanks for coming. It was amazing.
We got to wrap this up today. So I want to thank Clint for sticking around with us and hanging and phoning in. Yeah. You can check out his books that are on Amazon and Kobo. And then he's got a new book coming out in November.
We wish you future success in all your endeavors. And thank you very much for joining us, Clint. It was great meeting you. Great being able to talk to you.
Yes, it was nice to meet you guys. A pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome.
Great.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you guys know this, but I like talking about movies.
Yeah.